Hey, what's up? This is more or less.
Yo, welcome to my Summer Lair. I'm your host, Sammy, in semi-mint condition, Younan. The best science fiction. It could be a TV show like Doctor Who or Star Trek: The Next Generation, and we mentioned both in this My Summer Lair conversation, or books, even comics. Les and I talk about Professor X in X-Men comics. The the best science fiction basically contemplates the human condition. We are frail creatures, not just physically, where so much can harm us, but we're also mentally vulnerable. And from this stew of sci fi mixed with the unique human condition comes More or Less's latest album, The Human Condition. More or Less is on a sonic mission to connect as we endure this pandemic with endless lockdowns, devoid of human contact, but also devoid of literally fresh pop culture with spellbinding tales. The mental ends can be frayed. We can get lost emotionally and spiritually. We need these connections. However, this isn't a totally serious album or even a serious discussion. There's fun and nerdery and, of course, nostalgia. Such as, ready for this? Transformers, Back to the Future, The Prime Directive, Secret Avengers, Conan the Barbarian, Predator, and Terminator. All of that gets dropped in the next, half hour, 40 minutes, or whatever this conversation is. Whew! So buckle up, nerds! Wherever we're going, we don't need roads. Let's get into Relax, because on your recently released music video, Relax, from The Human Condition, throughout the
Yes.
video, you're wearing a sweet and soft robe. Is that really your robe, or is that just like a video robe?
No, that is a robe pulled from my closet. That is the real deal.
Would you consider that robe then your Doctor Who outfit? Like, you know how Tom Baker had the scarf and Matt Smith has the bow tie? Like Doctor Who he's known for those kind of things. If you were the Doctor, that robe would be your uniform?
No, I gotta be honest. No, that robe would be one of various outfits that I'd be wearing, like in a special like vacation holodeck episode. Realistically, it would be realistically it would be me in a backpack, probably with a hoodie and jogging pants, because that's my, like, minus the backpack, that's my current uniform these days is hoodie and jogging pants, because I'm spending so much time indoors at home.
Yeah, and that's what I want to bring up because the new album is The Human Condition. So
Yes.
is this all about making sure that people are in mint condition?
uh, sort of, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to. I wanted to talk about a variety of mental and emotional challenges that people face. So I guess in a sense, it's trying to get people into a better condition, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've talked a lot about this pandemic. When it's all over, we want to do these things. We want to go to bars. We want to go to we want to travel. We want to do these things, but we're treating it like it's heartburn or like exams at university. Where like it's this inconvenience for a little bit of window of time, and then it's done. Like we just got through it. You know what I mean? Like you recently released Normal 2.0, as you said, and so it's
Yes.
the idea that like once we get through this, then everything will be okay. But you're suggesting basically on the human condition that even though this moment in time will be done, not everything will necessarily be okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. At this point, I mean, talk that I've read about in the last few weeks to months is that this is going to continue, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
friends of mine have been a little distraught with the whole current situation where we're in a second lockdown in Toronto, but this was predicted because of human behavior, and so they've already said that, well, there'll be others. This won't be the only pandemic, and it hasn't been anyways. We've dealt with a bunch of other things like this have already occurred, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Toronto itself was the ground zero of SARS for the most part, and and we did get out of that. And I'm not saying this to trivialize whatever is the current situation or a future situation. It's just that I think part of my point with Normal 2.0 was to get across was that, hey, things, they're like I say in the beginning of the first verse, it's like this is a planet that's got problems before any of this happened. Now this larger, worldwide thing is happening now, and so there's just to keep in mind that while this is somewhat unique for us in our lifetimes, this is not going to be the first time and won't be the last time.
Yeah, you're almost talking about like removing the element of surprise. I think some people were surprised we ended up this way, which is the kind of thing of like, if you smoke 2 packs a day and then later on the doctor tells you have cancer, you really can't be surprised. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? you kind of like worked your way there. There was little decisions that you made along the way that it made you end up in this situation. Is that what you're kind of
True,
saying?
true. Yeah, I mean, part of it though, I think, sort of an aside, is that we're it's why, to me, it's why the lottery is such a popular thing for people. It's because we don't really get, like, at a sort of basic level of existence and survival, we don't really get stats are not really a thing for us. They don't really impact our activities. So
Mm-hmm.
when you say to someone, hey, you have a one in whatever a number of chances of getting cancer from smoking cigarettes, they're like, yeah, whatever, because that's not, it's just a statistic. It doesn't directly necessarily affect them. And in fact, with the UK government, they started changing their statements. Like, they started changing their marketing, if you will, about dealing with COVID, to say that, hey, you behaving in a way where you stay home, where you wear a mask, where you don't interact with other people, saves lives, right? And when you put it in a term like, in that context, it's doing better than to just say to people, well, you have a one in whatever chance of getting this, so,
Mm-hmm.
and it would increase at this rate if you don't stay home. So, like, those things, unfortunately, because I like the numbers. I don't mind hearing about the stats, but unfortunately, generally speaking, doesn't really affect us as much. It doesn't have the same impact, and so, yeah, so you
Yeah,
get that.
but it's our culture too, though, right? Like, we're also inundated with movies and TV shows and stuff where people beat the odds, right? Sports
Yep.
movies, cancer, those are the two big ones. Rom-coms, right? Rom-coms is like, I'll never find anybody, and then an hour and a half later, like, their eyes lock across the room in that wedding and off they go, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
we're a culture that's like, here are the odds, but you will be glorified if you beat these odds.
Yeah, but yeah, I think at the same time, what you're bringing up is a very good point. But it brings up the question again of, like, what is the value of this entertainment? Is it art imitating life, or life imitating art, right? Because we, generally speaking, want to see positive outcomes in these movies, in these, like, forms of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see people beat the odds. We want to see justice prevail, because it doesn't exist that easily and steadily and readily in real life. And so we're more entertained by, at least in the sense of entertainment being a way to escape your existence, then and we don't want to see, that result. We don't want to see a good plan fall apart, because that's just a reminder of what's really happening. It's just like, oh yeah, I don't get the girl, I don't get
Mm-hmm.
the guy,
Yeah.
I don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, then let's stay within escaping your existence. You, as somebody who's watched Doctor Who for years and years, has watching
Yeah.
Doctor Who taught you anything about the human condition? Because the Doctor is generally fascinated with us.
Yes.
We seem to kind of annoy him sometimes, but there is a deep love there. That's
Yeah.
accurate, right?
Yeah. I think the job when the job of a storyteller is done well, then the information, the entertainment that's being provided is like you're providing something in a way that people can feel something like they can feel good about what's going on, so and they can relate. So when you have a science fiction show, it works best when it's actually a reflection of what's currently happening with humans, because then we can relate. Imagine they try to be, and again, it's all guesswork, right? Because it's the future and we have no idea what's going to happen in the
Mm-hmm.
future. But imagine with, let's say, Star Trek TNG, because I've been watching a lot of that lately. Imagine they tried to really hone in on what the future might be like and how humans might behave. Because, you know, we don't speak now the way that humans would speak 300 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it happens in TNG, everyone's just talking the way we talk and using Christian swear words, and everyone's just relating. And of course, this had to happen because it's us at this time watching some form of entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Watching science fiction. So there has to be a convention. There has to be some caveats. And with Doctor Who, again, with any science fiction, I feel that it's done best when we don't kind of even notice it, that's relating to us. And I think that for the most part, that show's done a really good job of it over the years. Pretty much with every lead actor that played the Doctor that we've seen thus far.
Mm-hmm. Sticking with that idea, then, like, why did you name the album "The Human Condition" as opposed to, like, say, "Human Nature"? Right? Because isn't some of the themes on the album like fear, panic, anxiety? Isn't that all kind of part of human nature?
It is. It definitely is. But I also wanted to get into things that are kind of just uniquely human and a result of our circumstances and a result of our environment. In my song Blue Moon, as an example, I'm rapping about introverts, and just from the point of view of someone who's a friend saying like, hey, I understand that you are not wanting to go out, like that you do want to interact with people, or you with your close friends at least, but you don't want to necessarily go out, and I respect that. And I feel like it's a point of view that hasn't really ever been sort of talked about. And the circumstances around that, like while the feeling might be common amongst humans of any era, I think that the circumstances that we exist in right now are kind of more unique, like kind of allow that to happen more so than let's say the 60s, right? And especially now with COVID and everyone being locked down in certain places like Toronto and sequestered, right? There isn't the opportunity to go out and interact with people like there was before. And so circumstances are a bit different. And so I wanted to try and get that across too. It's like stuff that we're feeling plus how we deal with things in current circumstances. And part of that too, I sort of like wanted to point out is with songs like Help on the album, where everybody needs help. Your biggest like pro tennis player has a coach, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't just all of a sudden develop skills to win Wimbledon. Like everybody needs assistance from somebody else, from somewhere, and very often our society, the way it's structured, wants to tell you otherwise. It wants to say like, oh, you actually are better off doing these things on your own, or you're a bigger hero for doing things by yourself and accomplishing it on your own. And I think to a point, bringing it back to Doctor Who, that they sort of deal with that sometimes as well, where the idea is this person has knowledge of centuries, and traveled the universe and pretty much knows anything and everything, and rarely anything surprises them. But then still there's this human element. There's a person with them that doesn't, and somehow always manages to help him or her figure things out. So it's there's again with the fiction, it's just telling stories that people can relate to, and that's really what I wanted to do with this album more than previous ones. I mean, I'm always thinking I want to accomplish that as much as I can, as much as the album topic allows, but it was really a point as part of the of my mission with this project.
Yeah, kind of mirroring what you're saying about Help is Professor X, right? That's the obvious one, right? Where like, he adopts or like picks up Cyclops and he's like, here, wear these red glasses, these ruby quartz glasses, and this will kind of like stop the eye beams from like shattering everything. Right? Because it
Don't
sucks.
get me started on Cyclops. I don't even understand. Anyways, but yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well,
As an
focus,
example,
but that's what you're saying though, right? It's like Professor X. You can use a different mutant if you want. There's lots of them. But it's just the idea of like, here you go. Look, I know you're weird or you feel weird. You look weird sometimes in cases like Beast or even Angel, right? Like,
Yep.
that takes up a lot of room when you go to the movies, right? Those wings. So it's really obnoxious. It's like, yo, man, you're okay. Basically, Professor X just provides help.
Yeah.
What is the chorus of Help? It's a really cool chorus.
Oh, that chorus just popped into my head on the way to lunch once. I wasn't even trying to come up with the chorus at the time when it happened. It just came into my head, and I'm like, I should use that as the chorus. That's because at first I'm like, too simple. But it goes, people always need it, but they don't get it because they don't get it that they always need it.
Rap albums and rap music, people are always criticizing it for the 4-letter words. So is it unusual then to have a 4-letter word like help on a rap album?
Well, I actually mentioned that at the start of the song, in the verse, that it's that essentially that it's a 4-letter word that nobody wants to talk about, that no one wants to bring up or think that it's inappropriate. Because really, I've found it in trying to write that interesting, just in my own life, the ways that I've maybe could have asked for help or that I needed help, and then realized that I didn't, in hindsight, that I didn't ask for it because of some perception that I had on the situation or myself, and that felt that, I can't do that. And yeah, I absolutely could, and everyone absolutely can.
For you, how are you defining help? Like, how are you getting through things right now? Obviously, you're working, but are you also like meditating?
I probably could. I haven't been. My meditation has taken a form that perhaps people wouldn't see as meditation. Working on beats, that's been a form of meditation for me. So has been watching the entire run of the '90s X-Men animated series.
Nice, yeah. That's where the beef from Cyclops came from.
Oh, my beef with Cyclops goes way before that. Before I ever watched that. Yeah.
Because you kind of mentioned a little bit on Relax, right? As a workaholic, did the lockdown affect your work a lot?
Yeah, I would say to some extent. Like, you mean work on the music?
Yeah.
Like just how my approach is? Yeah, I mean, definitely affected things. Last year, I had an opportunity to buy a very pro microphone from a friend, and that mic, shout outs to Omar, and that mic was like, I just saw the opportunity to get that, to be able to record vocals at home. And I just thought it would be for the odd thing here and there. Like, I get, like when someone asks me to make a guest appearance on a song that they're working on, and rather than, and maybe this like scheduling didn't work with one of the other studios that I would usually go to and record, I would now have the opportunity to still do that, right? And then COVID happened, so I ended up recording this entire thing, with the exception of one song that was done earlier in 2019. I recorded the whole thing here at home base, and so I started with homie Ted, who's mix engineer on the album and has been mixing like all my albums all my projects since 2010. So shout outs to Ted, aka Measuring Man. So Ted was coming over actually and tracking, the fancy term in the music biz for watching me record and telling me when it's good or sounds like crap and to redo the verse or parts or whatever. And so near the end of 2019, or well, just before the pandemic hit Canada, I got sick with shingles actually and had to but I'm okay now. I had to cancel one of the tracking sessions we were going to have, and then the one before that was the last time I actually seen him in person. And that was January. So so I had to, him and I had to develop a system then after that where I was recording at home on my own, sending stuff to him, and I probably sent him more takes or did more takes than I usually would when I would have someone there, because then that person to say that take wasn't that great or part of that take was great, so we'll use it, etc. And so I just did that on my own, and it's weird. It took a little while to get used to, because you're in a certain mindset when you're recording vocals, like when you're delivering them, and it's a different mindset from actually editing on a computer. So I would deliver something, stop, think that maybe part of it was good or part of it wasn't, or I wasn't sure, and I need to play it back. So then all of a sudden I'm now taken out of the mindset that I was in, of the energy that I wanted to deliver to that particular song. So now I'm back in a computer doing computery things, and then I'm hitting record again and trying to give myself time to get back into the mode that I had before, because otherwise then it just becomes an impossible task trying to keep the same energy levels, the same vocal tone, stuff like that. So that was definitely the first and foremost biggest challenge with recording, like with doing music once this started.
Yeah, I've never understood how people who like direct a movie can also act in it. That seems really technical and really like creative at the same time, and that's like, like how can you be in the scene and acting and like, breaking up or doing something, and then you notice the light is not working or something, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, like the first episode of Star Trek TNG that Jonathan Frakes directed, because he's gone on to direct many things in different genres and in a lot of other Star Trek as well. Some of the movies. When the first one that he did in TNG, he wasn't even really in the episode. He appeared for like for a gag, essentially, for like 30 seconds or whatever, and that was it. And so I guess in his case at that point, he had to take to heart he wasn't able to wear both hats. Yeah, I do think that's definitely difficult to do, and an amazing skill if you have it. And with recording, of course, a much lower example, like in terms of the impact between directing, but yeah, it's definitely was something that it took a while for me to get used to.
Speaking of getting used to, the opening track is Assholes. And
yes.
You're weary of like sociopaths, and I get that. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm also curious why in that song you're not also throwing social media under the bus. Or are you?
Well, I kind of throw social media under the bus, so to speak, in other songs. It's not. It wasn't my point with that song, I guess, to bring that up. It was more about, I was more interested in talking about the behavior of people, and while definitely in current living, that social media stuff is going to be involved in however a lot of people interact, most people interact, but I was more interested in talking about the people directly, the people side of it, not the method of delivery, which is kind of what I would see the social media stuff as in this song in this case.
Yep.
Because it was really just about like the really jerky things that people do, that sociopaths do, and stuff, and think just all of this kind of crap that other people have to put up with, or maybe not put up with, is what I've perhaps suggested in that song.
Yeah, there's a really interesting documentary on CBC Gem called The Asshole, and it's about the rising tide of assholery.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, so that's your homework. When we wrap up, you can jump on the CBC Gem and check that out.
All right, cool.
I want to focus on a couple more songs on the
Sure.
album, because I understand what you're saying with like the asshole song, right? It's the people you're talking about who reject the stats, basically, or don't believe in the science is what you're talking about. Which is funny because it's like you close The Great Intelligence, another track on the album, with Sacha Baron Cohen, who many years ago when he was Ali G and all those other characters was kind of labeled as an asshole.
Yes.
So you've kind of gone to go full circle.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Well, with that song in particular, I guess it, along with Assholes, along with You're Right, are those songs kind of inhabit similar spaces, right? So with Great Intelligence, it was just, I decided to actually do research on a few topics on the album, because I always want to make sure that I'm delivering effective content and stories, and I don't feel that you can do that if you don't know what you're talking about. So I was interested in that topic, but I didn't want to just do it from an anecdotal point of view. And it was interesting to be reading about this devaluing of intelligence and experts. And basically there's this wave that's erupted of people, and in some ways it's not even so much about assholery, and closer to a song like You're Right, where people, part of it I guess is people really want to, they think that admitting that they're wrong about something is like some sort of, incredible sin or something, that it would make them, it would be to their grandest disadvantage of all, and to the point that people just are doubling down on their ignorance. Like they would be in a conversation telling you something, and you're saying, no man, like that's not what it is, like I can look it up and show you, and then they're like, oh well, those facts are wrong, those are not correct facts. It's like, but it has like a bunch of scientists corroborating the statement.
Yeah, the study was done by Coca-Cola.
And you're just a dude who has who's never actually touched those things that they're talking about, and you're just offering an opinion. And so people, it's interesting that. And with this whole album, I talk a lot about feelings, and that we don't talk about our feelings enough. But then, interestingly enough, a lot of people talk with their feelings and not with facts, or not with statements. They're just about like, well, I feel that this situation is wrong, and it's like, but like people arguing with their virologists in regards to the pandemic. It's like, dude, that person studied for a long time. At least they looked at the books for the work that they're doing. You just woke up today and had an opinion about that. Like, and in some way, it's devaluing their being a human for some strange reason, to say that they don't know everything, or that their opinion isn't valid in a certain situation. I mean, you want to talk about, let's say, I don't know, the techniques of wrestling. Well, I'm definitely not going to be an expert on that. I don't have anything to offer to that conversation, right? Because I'm not a wrestler. I've never done that. I don't even, work for a wrestling organization or something. Like, I've just watched it on TV, but then I'm all of a sudden going to say to someone who is involved in that, like, no, man, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's not how you do a suplex. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like, I found like we're supposed to now, and you kind of acknowledge this on the album as well, is we're supposed to have all this knowledge on all these different things. Like
Yeah.
a hot button topic, for example, is like this whole thing with Black Lives Matter and police reform and these things, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not denying that systemic racism exists; it completely does. But at the same time, I don't have enough information on how police reform should look like. I don't know what it should do. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's
And
above
this
my
is why
pay grade. So I agree that, like, you know, like we should help black people. I'm like, yes, all right. And then that's it. I got nothing else. You know what I mean? And not only that, but it's also like, it's not because I'm not black or whatever, but it's like, that's not that's not what gets me out of bed every morning. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know other
Right,
people will
right.
pick that up and fight for it. And there's organizations. I'm like,
Yep.
if I can help you somehow, if I can give you some money, I'll do it. But otherwise, that's your thing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with like women and job issues and things like that. I'm like, there's lots of people fighting for those causes and who know those things. And that's what you're talking about, right? Like, know what you're talking about.
I am. I mean, I don't want to at the same time say, though, that because you don't know a lot about something that you shouldn't get involved. If
Correct.
I think there's a difference. There's a definite difference between having a conversation with your friends about something and maybe admitting that you don't know everything about it and asking for some more information and getting a perspective, as opposed to just outright like dismissing something that somebody else has said with no research done on your own part for your own sake, without talking to somebody else, without even remotely considering their position. And so I found it very interesting in a documentary that was on Netflix about flat earthers, about people who believe that the earth is flat, where they were interviewing a scientist from NASA who was saying, you know, it's a shame that people want to dismiss these people and consider them like, you know, maniac crackpots or something that should be locked up, because you're missing an opportunity. You're missing an opportunity to engage with another person, to if you have this strong aversion to what they're believing, you have an opportunity to try and understand their point of view and educate them and give them some information, and then you can have a conversation. And I feel that with this devaluing of intelligence and experts, we've lost that. There's no conversation. I mean, you see it in American politics. It's either you're a Democrat or a Republican, and that's it. Like, you're voting for a belief, and that's supposedly well spelled out, but kind of isn't.
Yeah.
The world is a gray area. Nothing is really, there aren't too many things out there that are black and white.
Yeah, and like part of what you're saying too is just listening, right?
Yeah.
Like that's an undervalued skill. You're talking about too, like everyone wants to like have information or like pretend that they know things or have feelings or speak about those things, whatever. But sometimes you just need to shut up and just listen, right?
Yes, and me being a human myself, I also find that challenging. There aren't times, like, I'm not always listening easily to what somebody else has to say in their point of view, and I kind of sneak something like that in at the end of Assholes to say that, hey, this person with this idiotic, insane behavior, there's probably a reason why that's happened. It isn't just like they woke up one day and they were an asshole. That can happen, I think, but I think it's rare. I think that's not necessarily a person's joie de vivre, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Very good Canadian there. You got a little bit of French in there. I don't want to make it seem like the album has a lot of heavy topics and is a very serious album, but you also have a lot of fun, like on nostalgia, where you say, yes, I want original media, but I know it's just easier feeding us.
Yes.
What kind of prompted that one? Because like over this discussion, and I've talked to you before off mic, but it's like I've talked to you before, and it's like, I mean, even during this discussion, you just mentioned like X-Men, the animated series. You mentioned Star Trek Next Generation. These shows have been off the air for years, right?
It's true. It's true. But and that's part of my point with that song, actually, is to talk about struggling with that, in that it's not as clear cut. Like that, I have moments when I don't want to see yet another thing from my childhood revisited. but at the same time, I understand why that happens, because it comforts us. It gives us, it's something that we recognize. I think it's why remixes that DJs and producers can do well, because it's someone still catching the vibe. Like if you're doing a remix of a Michael Jackson song, well, someone who's really into him is, even though it's a remix, they're still catching a vibe from the original song, and probably more details from when they first heard it, how they felt at the time, who they were with at the time, when it happened, like that kind of thing. And so there is value in the actual, like, proper sort of dictionary definition discussion of the word nostalgia. There is actual value in that for human beings. There is like a purpose for it existing, to somewhat to our benefit, but also there are the aspects of it that I think are kind of negative and just overdone, like just again, that grand reminiscing. I'm cool with it once in a while, and I do think that there's importance in having legends. Like we have stories of that are remembered, like Shakespeare, stories of the Iliad, and the more modern legends. You've got the Lone Ranger, and then you get into comic books. You've got Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, etc., Superman, and those are modern legends, and I think that they are definitely valid and important, and we shouldn't just be jumping to the new thing and forgetting everything that existed before every single time, because that's detrimental to us. There is value in us remembering our past, because that helps us form decisions for the future. It's like wisdom is gained through knowledge and experience. And so nostalgia isn't a total waste, but at the same time, I think that with entertainment media especially, it's just overdone. It's like a quick fix. It's an easy way to kind of hit us over the head with something like, hey, remember this? So you'll really like that thing and you'll buy it immediately, because you're like, oh yeah, I know Transformers. I remember that when I was a kid. Awesome. I'll buy that.
It's funny because now the Transformers, I forgot what he's called now. Extension, but Transformers and X-Men animated series just had a mashup, a collaboration, and so they made it's an Autobot, and he transforms into the black what's it called, what's the jet for the X-Men animated series? I'm drawing a blank now. Terrible nerd cred.
The Blackbird.
Blackbird, that's it. Yeah, so he transforms into that, and so it's like
amazing,
right?
Amazing.
And like that's everything all at once, like X-Men and Transformers, everything all at once.
Yeah, I wish someone would. It could just be a joke. I mean, my drawing skills are negligible, but I would love if someone, as a joke, just did like a Transformers of regular life series, like Megatron transforms into a lamp, and like Optimus Prime transforms into an office chair. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, they seem to be doing a number of collabs lately. So they had another one, Back to the Future, right? They had Gigawatt, I think his name was. He transforms into the DeLorean. So that's possible. I mean, just do like a still life Transformers collab.
But you see, even me saying that is kind of me following into along with the whole nostalgia thing, right? Because I'm talking about a thing that it's like an element of a thing that we recognize from our past.
A shorthand.
Yeah, it's a shorthand, and we do need it to an extent, and at the same time, I think entertainment media overdoes it. I think it's just a quick opportunity, right? It's cash cow. It's like reading about the Marvel, the business of the Marvel company, from I forget the author's name. I think his last name was Howe, but at any rate, there's a Marvel biography, you could call it. I'm not even sure.
Oh, Sean Howe?
Yes, Sean Howe.
Yeah.
And talks about the history of the Marvel company, and
that's a great book.
Yeah, when they get to the time period of just on the cusp of the Iron Man movie, of starting the MCU, it's like they were going bankrupt, and they were trying to sell this business office to say, hey, entertainment media makers, here is a company where we have like over 150 pre-licensed characters that already have a built-in audience. So wouldn't you just want to take advantage of that, and so you could make easy money? And it saves them having to come up with stories. It saves them having to design things from scratch, right? They have all this back information that they can pull from.
Focus grouped.
Yeah, and I say this like criticizing it, but at the same time, I'm one of the few people that I know that still wants the MCU to happen. I'm still like, yeah, man, I'm cool with phases 5 through 15 through 70. I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely all right with watching all of the comic books from my childhood come to life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a weird thing because like recently they announced they're going to do Predator 5, and yeah, I laughed too. And that franchise has been terrible, right? Like every movie's gotten worse and worse. So I was like, who asked for this now? Like, is there actual demand for Predator 5?
I don't know, but I guess movies like the latest Terminator movie that came out maybe prove to them that it's possible, because that movie, my understanding, kind of ignored the last 3 or 4 Terminator movies.
It was just terrible. You know, okay, this is a tangent, but you didn't see it, I guess?
No.
Okay, so you know how the classic Terminator, right? Where like I guess for some reason James Cameron, for all of his science and technology, he only believes you can time travel naked. So the Terminators would appear in like 1984 or like in the first one, whatever, naked. So anyways, what this one randomly did was that when Arnold traveled back in time, he absorbed all of the history, like all the future events. So he could tell Sarah Connor what was going to happen in our present time because he had absorbed all the stuff by time traveling. You can't introduce that into the 6th movie or 7th movie or whatever. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Like, yeah, it's too far gone. Like, no, man. Like,
amazing.
Yeah, and I saw it opening weekend, and then the audience gasped because it was all nerds, right? So it's like, yo, you violated like the Prime Directive or something. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And it's and awesome that you bring up the Prime Directive, because there are rules. People tend to react better to a story that has parameters, right? Like if anything could happen and does, then there's probably no discernible plot. Things don't make sense, and so nobody's interested.
Yeah,
you gotta have limits, because then it shows that the characters involved rise above those limits, those challenges, and that's what we like to see, because it doesn't always happen in our own regular lives that we get to succeed or get past these challenges that get in front of us, you know? So
yeah, so then going back to your album, The Human Condition, then, was the album made for you as an encouragement, or was it made for other people? Because Relax almost seems like it's a message to yourself, like a message in a bottle or something.
Yeah. I think I would say it's both. It's kind of cool that you caught that, actually, because other people have not asked that. Maybe they thought it and just didn't have the courage, but to just say, hey man, did you just do this for yourself? Is this just and the answer is like partly yes. Yeah, absolutely. I read once that Kanye listens to his own music all the time, and when someone asked him about it and felt sort of like, isn't that arrogant of you to be listening to your own music, he's like, well, I like what I made, so yeah, I'm listening to my own music.
Yeah, you and Kanye both make dope beats, so that's always kind of the litmus test of what you decide, right? When you're making stuff, is if it kind of gets your head bopping and you can kind of think of something to write about. You're like, yo, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of stuff I'm sure you hear or you play around with on your mixer or whatever. You're like, no, this is not it, or like it's not ready yet.
Exactly. Yeah, that's totally happens. Ever since I've been making my own music, I've always had the rule with writing raps. It's like if listening to a beat annoys me after a certain period of time, like to hear it looped over and over again, at some point I just go, oh, this sucks now, or I can't stand this, hearing this anymore. If that happens, then it's not the right song. It's not the right beat. I'm not going to write to it. It's out, because I'm going to be writing to it. I'm going to hear that thing so often
Yes.
that I'm just going to know how it sounds and what it's doing. And so I gotta love it. I gotta love it. And so when I'm working on my own albums, it's always a case where I've made more material that or thought up at least more material than I actually end up creating and releasing. Totally, because just not everything is going to be that. It's not always going to be the song that I want to hear forever. And so the collection that appeared on my album, or any album I've made, is always going to be like, hey, so less approved. he heard it a billion times and he thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And really, with releasing music, it's just in the hopes that other people will find it entertaining as well, that they can relate to it somehow, that they can recognize something in themselves through what I'm trying to say. And luckily for me, with this album, getting a bit more personal with it than I have in previous releases, it's been working. People have been responding to me and saying like, hey man, is this something that you experienced, or you're telling a story from somebody else? And it's like, no, actually I experienced that too. So
Yeah, so was it, just as we wrap up then, did it require any bravery on your part to be that open and that vulnerable? Like, it's a lot easier to be Superman than it is to be Clark Kent.
Yeah, definitely bit of work. In fact, one song in particular, Me Little Myth, that first verse was me trying to get out. I decided I wanted to write all the things basically that I have said to myself at some point, that I've thought about myself at some point in this negative fashion, and to let people know that this is something that other people go through, that people kind of say general, that negative voice in the back of your mind telling you that maybe you're wrong or something. Well, I want to explain that. Well, here's a situation with this person, me, that this is as simple as just a little negative voice in the back of my head that I can tell to stop. It's like, this is ongoing dialogue and a challenge to face, a challenge to deal with it, to meet it, to be able to function with it. And so yeah, I mean, I never really wrote a song about that ever before. And if you had asked me to do something like that, or suggested it to me 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I would have said like, nah, I don't think I would be brave enough to handle it. And in fact, when I wrote that verse, I had to stop writing it every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
more than usual. Like I would give myself a certain amount of time to write, like, oh, I'm going on a walk, it'll be an hour, I'll write while I'm walking. And with that song in particular, that verse especially, I had to take breaks. It's like, this is enough of repeatedly listening to this negative talk and finding words to rhyme with it. I'm like, no, I gotta take a break. So yeah, definitely some hard work got put in on some of those songs for sure.
So where can people find you online to hear some more of your hard-working songs? Wish you happy birthday.
Of my depressing music.
Yeah. Wish you happy birthday. Right, it's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up in a few days actually. So they can go to pretty much any online digital music distributor. So Spotify, it's there. Amazon Music, it's there. Apple Music, Google Play, YouTube. It's Bandcamp. It's on all the things. So you can just, honestly, easiest thing to do is probably just type out the title or look for me. My name is More or Less, spelled with one S, and it's 3 words, More or Less.
Yeah, so what are you going to do for your birthday since we're in lockdown? Is it just going to be more Star Trek and more X-Men, or?
I think so. I don't think I'm really trying to celebrate it big or anything. My lady had a surprise for me, but that actually got postponed because of a lockdown. So
that was a surprise.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I orchestrated this entire world pandemic for you.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. Are you getting up there in age in terms of Doctor Who?
I've been reading. I've been watching my Doctor Who every once in a while. Still, yeah, I'm still there. I'm still into it.
Yeah.
I'm sort of. Am I anxiously awaiting it? I'm definitely interested in what's going to happen next based on the end of the season. And maybe this isn't the place to get into it, but there were major revelations, major changes to the background history and canon of Doctor Who that happened in this season. And I, for one, am actually cool with it. I know a lot of Doctor Who fans that are not, and they absolutely were thinking it was, like the second of the new Star Wars installments. They were really like, "Oh, this is the Last Jedi. I hate this." but for me, no, man, I was totally cool with it. I actually was also one of those people that was pretty cool with Last Jedi as well. I mean, minus Canto Bight, but the rest of it, I was all right with. I didn't think it was a what was the term, an abomination to my childhood, as some people have thought. But
last question then: are you reading anything these days in terms of comics?
Yeah, I've been going back on Secret Avengers. That's been my most recent read. Yeah. So I got a bunch of them. I bought a bunch of them a while ago and hadn't really read them and kind of skimmed through a few, and then I just decided. I saw one day on the table and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna get back into those and see what happens."
It's a lot of fun. I started reading Savage Avengers with Conan on the Avengers.
I haven't done that yet.
Conan the Barbarian, Punisher. I can't remember who else is on the team. I'm not sure about this one. I don't think it's gonna be a long run. Anyways, you know what I mean? Like,
doesn't sound like it. When will it come out with Office Avengers?
That's probably the next one after that. You know what I mean? Just keep cranking them out at this point.
Yeah. So absolutely.
But yeah, thank you for taking some time, and thank you for cranking out The Human Condition. As you said, the album's out now, and it is fantastic. It takes a while because it's not a traditional. The album itself is so introspective. I don't want to make it sound like it's depressing or anything. There is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of joy, and there's a lot of references and stuff like that. But it does take a little bit of time just to kind of work through it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Totally. It is a long player in the traditional sense, really. And I don't know. I just had a bunch of topics that I really wanted to tackle and get out there, and this album formed into the shape that it's in now, and I'm glad people are appreciating it. So that's cool.
Perfect. That's it. We're done. Les, thanks for hanging out and talking comics and X-Men and Star Trek and Doctor Who, and we eventually got to your music as well. So thanks for hanging out.
Yeah. No problem. We covered all the bases. Mm-hmm. It was good playing nerd bingo with you.
Yes, there we go. Yo, that was More or Less, rapper and beatmaker who has been consistently putting out music since 2009. I'm Sammy, host of My Summer Lair. If our discussion about his latest album, The Human Condition, doesn't work for you, try some of his other work. Big Lunch in Little China, Nerd Love, and one of my favorites, Bigger on the Inside, Time Traveler's Mixtape. Oh yes, cheers if you know the reference. It's a dope EP. And please, don't let our conversation be the end. Reach out to Les and share your human condition. Engage the work. It should be a dialogue, not a monologue. Or connect with me. I'm at My Summer Lair for all three. My Summer Lair for IG, My Summer Lair for Twitter, and My Summer Lair for Facebook. Which is, I guess, ironic, talking about your mental health on social media. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in a Netflix world. The Human Condition, yo.